This is Sean Hennon, writer of episode 813, Anne. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Gin. Apparently I'm the dummy, since I don't get bridge either. Welcome to the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. Greetings, one and all. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. And Troy, I've got a much better title for this episode. It's so much better. Assault on Precinct N13. What? I nailed it. I'm giving myself applause. Thanks for joining us yet again for Anne, written by Sean Hennon and directed by Andrew McCarthy again. He's doing a bunch of them this year. Showing us their intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
If you're new to the show, we do a little bit of house cleaning from last week. We were off last week, so it's from 2 weeks ago. And then we get into our case profile for Anne. Such a lovely lady, and what a nice house in the middle of Middle America. Then we'll get into Red's rhetoric and, of course, your thoughts and special agent intel at the end of the show. But first, Aaron, you posed the question, because I think some people have been talking and wondering, is Red really N13?
Is this a cue to have me give you some answers? Is that what you're hoping for?
If you'd like to, I mean, you don't have to. I don't want to like start a pattern or anything where you actually like do things, over and over again for 180 episodes or something.
All right. Well, is Red N13? 70% of you said no, and 30% of you said yes.
I'm shocked.
I'm not. I think that feels right. I mean, honestly, at this point in the show, do you trust anything they give you right off the bat? I don't.
I was like, maybe 50-50 would have been better, but like 70-30? Like they're adamant. They don't believe our friend from the East when he said it was a fact that nobody knows is true.
I'm just letting you know.
Well, AJ said Red has never confirmed that he is N13 himself. Thinking back, it seems that anytime he is confronted by someone, he manages to evade actually confirming that he is or is not N13. I question whether he is because of this carefully crafted dialogue.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, David, Red is looking for N13.
And if you remember, Aaron was actually trying to make N13 into a word on the last podcast. And so Ashley said that it should be something like nitherteen. Like Ovaltine, but nitherteen.
Okay. All right. Well, our question for next week is real simple. It's officially Red versus Liz. Whose side are you on? Pick a side, Team Red or Team Liz. I got a feeling I know which way it's going to lean, but you never know. Surprise me.
It'll probably be like 90%, 10%.
Yeah, Team Liz. I got you. Yep. That's the way it should be.
Team Dembe.
Team Dembe. I'm kind of with that. I mean, he knew Bitcoin. So
yeah. Bitcoin, he knows the guy who can tell me all about the Japanese markets, and he is a smart cookie when it comes to how you should not be visiting your friends on a regular basis. All right, well, now before a new pattern emerges, let's go ahead and get into this week's case profile.
Okay, this is probably going to be one of the easier episodes we've had in a long time to talk about because there's no mythology here at all. None. Zip. Would you agree?
Agree.
Okay. Doesn't mean it wasn't a great episode. I actually love this episode. I had a blast because it was very character driven, thrilling. It was very much like Assault on Police 13. So or Assault on Precinct 13 is the movie, but so I definitely really appreciated that. And I just love the character moments. And I love, is it LaChance? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, LaChance. Yeah.
Love her. Absolutely love her. Like, bring her back always. I would just love a spinoff where it's just Red and Anne gallivanting across the world as he dodges bullets and she picks out board
people
games.
In trunks.
Yeah, that too. All right.
Why don't we ask this question then, since it'll be a shorter episode, maybe a little insider baseball. Sean Hennon,
no promises there because we still seem to drag it out. But yeah.
But Sean Hennon wrote this episode. The last non-numbered episode, Brothers, Sean Hennon also wrote. How would you compare this one to Brothers? Do you like one better than the other? Or are they both equal in stature?
I like Brothers better just because it was Anthony Michael Hall. I'm a sucker for Anthony Michael Hall. I really love the brothers dynamic, and you've got like the whole family thing. But I really love this. Like, this is one of my favorite of this season for sure. And LaChance is just, I really loved her. She's so charming. She's so innocent, but also like not weak. She's never weak in this show, even though things are going south very fast. She's very charming, very open, very charismatic, and also strong and centered. And I just loved her character. And I said that the last time, and I'm so freaking thankful she's not part of a cabal, or she's not part of any part of Townsend's plan or Liz's plan. She's just someone that genuinely cares for Red and vice versa.
Well, she's kind of part of Liz's plan now.
Oh, you know what I meant. Stop it. Stop it.
What I love about her and this character and what we've gone through, even though we all were speculating stuff when she first appeared on the scene, what I love about her the most is that even when Liz has been at her most badassery, she's still, subservient to Red, like just below Red a little bit. This is the first person I feel has gone like toe to toe, eye to eye. You know, she can stand her own against Red and put Red in his place, and she did when she cracked him across the face. So I think,
love that moment. I was like, yeah, good. You know how many people need to smack him? And I know everybody's like, Aaron, you jackass, you're not even a fan of the show if you think that. No, I think that. So I'm glad somebody did.
And I think because of that, it just showed like Red has a soft side for certain situations, and he can be humbled when he needs to be humbled. And because of that, I'd love to. Hopefully, she dodges a bullet and she's around for the rest of the season.
Oh, Liz isn't going to kill her. She'd never come back from that as a character on the show. That wouldn't happen. Don't see that.
No.
Don't
push her far enough. You know, she'd do some crazy things. Kill some people on a plane, blow up a hospital.
I firmly believe the gun was pulled on Red, not on Anne. I think Liz was talking to Anne in that very last scene. Because they only show the gun in hand pointed a direction. They don't show where it's pointed. Yeah, so I don't think Liz has a gun on Anne.
But you see Anne literally like peeing her pants. Like her eyes are like scared out of her mind.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy that she thought just escaped is back now. And maybe Liz told her some things. Like, oh, maybe you should know this about that guy. Huh? Here's what you should know. And maybe that's why she was terrified.
That's possible. That's possible. I'll give you that one.
We don't know. I'm pretty sure next week we'll probably, and I don't know, there's no insider baseball. I don't know anything, but I'll bet you next week here's where Liz has been the whole episode. And then we'll come back to that moment at the very end so we won't actually get that conversation. That'd be my guess.
Aaron and I were debating that offline. We were saying, okay, are we going to have like 10 episodes of this is what Liz has been doing since the start of the season? Or is it going to be one episode? So you guys can decide, take the over or under what you think it'll be.
Well, this particular episode, we open with Red reviewing his richness while he's running late for a bridge game. It's his 5th visit with Anne that's becoming a pattern, which is interesting because the last indication we had was that this was over completely, right? He left her standing there waiting for North by Northwest. Okay. Which ironically, let's remind everybody, North by Northwest is about a man who's believed to be someone he's not.
Seems fitting.
Saying. Yeah. So he loves coming home to a port. It's a Navy term. I know. I was there. I was in the Navy. A candle burning in the window, a smile waiting for him, and it's Anne. Now, Dembe, of course, alludes to you're setting a pattern. This is the 5th time. It's a pattern. It's a problem. We've always talked about this. You can't have this, but Red doesn't want to let it go. And then, of course, amidst the canoodling and the love and the shagging that's going on, Townsend finds him because it is a pattern and comes at him full force. And they do end up in an assault on Precinct 13 moment, which if you've never seen, it's a John Carpenter movie where basically the criminals take siege to a police station and try to get at the criminals and the cops inside. They start working together. It's very similar in that respect. I don't even know if you knew that. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
I know of the movie. I don't think I may have seen the movie, but it's been a while.
It's like a 70s movie. A lot of people have never seen that, but it's a great film. You should find it. Napoleon. Got to smoke? Anyway. All right. So this was a fun one. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I think I talked about that. But which part did you like most? Because the first half is all character driven. Second half is more kind of action thriller.
It's a great question.
Or did you like it as a whole? I really enjoyed it as a whole, personally.
I mean, I love it as a whole, but I think I laughed out loud numerous times when I was just like, how dumb can cops be? Like, let's stand in front of the window. Let's go outside and be like, please let me go, sir. It was just like, I think that was my favorite. Just watching like we are better because we are the law. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're not.
I kind of feel bad. Like the one cop that went out there, he's like, I'm coming out unarmed. I'm like, they just shot your chief in the head while he was on the phone. Why would you think that was a good idea? That's dumb.
Make it easier for him.
But I could see people doing that, thinking like, if I get away from him, then I've got nothing to do with this, but that's not the way it played out at all.
And I'm totally going to lose my street cred because I watched this episode last night. And I don't remember her name, but it was Lisa, right? Was the best friend?
Lois.
I knew it was an L and an S. But I thoroughly enjoyed Lois's character. I thought she was great from like just 2020 hindsight senses. Like her Spidey stuff was going off. Like
her Spidey stuff was going off. Yeah.
She's just like, there's something wrong here. There's something going on.
She just got promoted. With great power comes great responsibility, Lois. Get on it.
Exactly. So yeah, I really loved her character. I think they did a really good job casting this episode. I really do.
I agree 100%. That was very well done. And I love the Kansas element.
Why Kansas?
Because Kansas is in the heart of the Midwest, where Bokenkamp is from, and it just feels like that's a nod, maybe, to the plain, simple life, the small town living, the charm of a small town. I like all those aspects of it.
I suppose. I mean, it's a little stereotypical. They only had like the shot of the one house and the shot of the one street downtown. And
you probably don't know this because you live pretty much in a big part of Chicago, where I'm much more rural. So small towns are like that. That's pretty common. It happens in most small towns. There's like nothing there.
I'm just saying, I felt it was a little stereotypical. So a small town might be like, why are you pigeonholing us? Some small towns are actually big bustling cities.
You mean they're going to be offended?
They might be.
You're afraid small towns are going to cancel us because of that? All right, so let's get into characters.
All right, first up we have music, and as the FBI arrives at the precinct after the shootout, we hear How Low by Jose Gonzalez. Then we're treated to Red and Ann's song twice during the episode, Angel of the Morning by Merrily Rush. First time was when they danced to the record, and then again when Red turns his car around at the end of the episode. And you can get both of those songs over on our playlists, both for Spotify and Apple Music, over on the website, theblacklistexposed.com.
My biggest problem, whole episode, is that, turning the car around. That they would have so many feds at Anne's house. They would have so much media by that point at Anne's house, because she just dated the most wanted fugitive in the world. I thought that was a little bit of a stretch. Even Liz couldn't be there at that point. You know what I mean?
I have to give it to Sean, though, because Sean did, I watched it the second time. He actually wrote himself an out for that because the guy was like, I want to question you, Anne. And Anne's like, I just want to go home. And then Lois is like, yeah, she's not a suspect, so just leave her alone for a little bit. She's going to go home. She's going to have a cry. She's going to have a shower, So I think in that case, because he was able to write that in, it gave enough time to say like there wouldn't be a storm of FBI and media sitting at the house.
And we will agree to disagree because I think the media would be camped outside, waiting for that nap to end. That's just how they roll. But,
remember, it's a small
TV.
town.
It's TV.
It
doesn't matter what town it is. You just dated the most well-known fugitive in the world. It's going to be public by then. Every freaking reporter is going to be on your lawn. Anne, tell us, what was he like in bed? Did he do it different than other people? Everything would be happening. They're awful.
How was he with the soldering gun?
Wow. That got weird. Okay, so let's get into our character discussion. Dembe has an amazing head for business. We learned this, but he loves the funnies. I haven't heard funnies. My grandpa used to say that. So I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I would say I heard comics. I've never heard funnies since, probably my dad's age, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But he knows Satoshi Nakamoto. And if you didn't know that, he invented Bitcoin. He's kind of the very mysterious and elusive person who invented Bitcoin, or that currency. If you don't know what Bitcoin is, look into it. It's what they use on the dark web. Shh. Silk Road. That's all I'm saying.
That's how I pay Aaron his salary.
I wish, because that'd be worth a lot more. All right, so no patterns is what he keeps telling him. This is, again, the 400th, I think, time this season alone that Dembe has tried to tell Red not to do something, but he keeps doing it. Like, if he would just listen to Dembe, this show would probably be on an 8-episode format. Right?
I suppose, yeah, it'd be pretty boring. Red.
I don't know about boring,
here,
but it'd be less. He'd be getting himself into less trouble. Liz would understand who she is, so she'd be less mad. Everybody would know exactly if it's real Katerina or fake Katerina or whatever Katerina. And, Anne would not be a factor because it's a pattern. Can't have patterns.
He is a wise man.
Will never be safe.
Wise man. He learned from the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he says, Reddington may not be who you want to be, but it's who you are.
Yeah, that line was interesting. Like, was trying to figure, like, I'm not Raymond Reddington when I'm with Anne, but you're not Raymond Reddington. Right? You're an imposter playing Raymond Reddington. So, like, what did that all mean to you when he said that way?
When he said it just meant that he's not Raymond Reddington. We all know that, I think. It's been very well established that he's someone else wearing the skin, basically, of Raymond Reddington, or the name, anyway. We all know that. But
has he played the role so long now that he thinks he is Raymond Reddington? Because
what he was saying was very much, you may want to have this life, this simple life, this life where you can be with this woman you love,
right,
and just go retire, but you can't because you chose a different path, and that path is going to follow you. That's what he was saying. Simple.
Exactly. The way Red said it is what I was saying was, he said, I am Raymond Reddington, but I'm with Anne. I'm not.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like a master criminal. He gets to be himself, finally. Right. Gets to relax and not keep up the charade. And I think what we're seeing when he's with Anne is more of the person he used to be before he assumed this identity.
Which makes it very interesting to see, like, well, what kind of person was he before? If he's this soft, tender, fix your piano, fix your radio.
Somebody who lost their family and had to burn the house down because of it. That'd be my guess.
Eat your cake and your sweets and your frosting.
That would be my guess. Somebody lost their family, had to burn the house down because of it. In terms of the other characters, we don't have anything from Aram, Wrestler, Park, Panabaker, or Cooper. So,
which is interesting because when they called the feds, you would assume like, hey, Raymond Reddington's here. You think somebody from the post office would have shown up in that moment rather than being a local FBI office.
How would they show? They're in Washington.
They flew all the way from Washington to Denver for the Mint episode in like one commercial break.
This is within an hour. It's going down within an hour, so they don't have time to get anybody. There's no flight that fast.
But I would have thought they would have gotten like one of them on the phone or something to talk to the local field agent to say like, hey, don't do anything.
I really feel like that would have been the play had he went to jail somewhere or something. He would have said, you got to call Harold Cooper. That's who you got to call right now.
Okay.
But because of the immediate threat was making sure Anne was safe, that's what he was focused on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So our characters, we've really got 4 that play a pivotal role, except for, Brad. But Brad's lame, right? We don't need to talk about Brad. Lame-o. Townsend, number 1. The one thing that is about to happen is going to be anything but civil. I mean, he really wants Red dead. So bad.
So bad that he's like miraculously healed once again and able to walk around without a problem. This guy who was taking pills and basically comatose in his mansion and needed to be cared for by 2 people. He's moving pretty quick.
Adrenaline. That's all it is. He's worked up.
Must be.
He calls the sheriff, who seems like a pretty good guy until he gets a hole in his head. Also, he kills the cop who made like a tree and got out of there. So what did you think of Townsend taking this assault to the police station? Are you surprised that they actually kept going at that moment? Because I was actually surprised at that.
No, I'm not, because I think Townsend is that kind of a person. He's so infuriated with Red and that Red keeps getting away from him and he wants Red dead. So he's going to stop at nothing basically in order to make it happen. So the fact that he's willing to even show up himself, not just as goons, but he wants to be there to make the apprehension. I think that just says a lot about Townsend's character and why it'll probably end up being his demise in the long run.
Sooner rather than later, right? Because poor Anne, we got to let her get back to her life.
Whatever that's going to look like in the future.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard to sell Lois, her best friend, on on anything, really. Look, I decided I really want to make this work with Red. I know you're probably now the sheriff. So are you cool with us dating? Because I don't think Lois is going to go for that.
Now, did Lois help out with the escape?
Maybe it's Bran. Is it Bran? Not Brad. Maybe it's Bran.
Remember.
One of those.
Nobody liked
Whatever
him
it was,
anyway.
he's so lame I can't remember his name. All right, it's either Brad or Bran. I wrote both down. I don't know why I got confused, but one of those is her husband.
We were thinking about the Goonies. That's what it was.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. No. The question is, did you think Lois helped with the escape, with getting Red in the trunk of the car?
I would think. No, she couldn't move, so I don't think she did.
But she was all like, "I'm going to arrest you," and then all of a sudden he's like, out of there. So Lois has to, because then Lois was talking to the FBI agent. So
she covered for her, but I don't think she helped get him in the trunk. No,
No.
She just, because Anne got in the way of her gun.
Yeah.
And she'd never hurt Anne. So she just said, okay, I understand. I don't think she could move. So,
but she did help cover.
She did. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, she did help cover for her friend.
She was fully aware that Red is on the loose.
She did, for sure.
Okay.
And I don't know how Anne got Red into the trunk of her car that fast, but man, got it done because we heard the sirens. That means they weren't very far out. They must have moved at a pretty quick clip. So Lois really liked her. That's Catherine Erb. She's a wonderful actress. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's the cop that's married to lame Brad Bran. And Lois says that she'll kill Red if he hurts Anne. I thought that was a great scene because the way that McCarthy like zooms in on Spader's face and almost just has this like Jack Nicholson in the Witches of Eastwick look where he's like, oh yeah, go ahead, bring it. I loved it. Absolutely loved that scene.
That's why for like the go ahead, make my day. Good luck, lady.
Good luck. Get in line. And you know what? She should be thanking him because she is going to get her promotion out of this, right?
Yeah. 100%.
You're going to be sheriff now. Or at least interim sheriff.
Hey, so that makes you number 2.
Be grateful.
Yeah. Okay,
so Anne, we learn a lot about Anne. She loves irises, and apparently Anne's safe words are output connector. just so you know. Good to know. You know, I never thought when I heard those words it'd make me think of sex, but here I am, and I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? But we learned that she loves him. She says that out loud. She loves him. I really, 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 really appreciated that moment, but I don't think we heard him repeat that.
That's
to
a
her.
good question.
I don't think so.
No, because she was talking to Lois. He comes down the stairs, makes the creaky step.
Correct.
You know, she says like I really love him, and then we see like they go to he goes to the store. He gets the thing. He
I'm gonna eat cereal
eat
cereal like all narcissists do.
Hi, Lois. So glad you're here, Lois. Are you leaving now, Lois?
I love that he knows she's a cop, but he's not even worried about it. Not even a little bit.
Which just tells you like how like clueless this precinct is in the middle of Kansas. Like, don't you know that this is the number 1 most wanted person on the FBI list?
You'd think, right?
Yeah. Like, only look at his picture every day when you go to the station on the bulletin board.
Well, Anne gets really mad when she finds out what's going on because he sees the Chase County water and power guy in a couple different places and finds him in the backyard and realizes pretty quickly that what's going on. And then as they make their escape, she says to him, how selfish, you getting involved with me knowing all of this is hanging over you. And then slap goes the hand. When this is over, so are we. So what did you think about that? Because you and I have had this debate many, 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 many times. And I know a lot of listeners don't agree with me when I say it, but I firmly am still in the camp that yes, Red can be very selfish. I like that he got called on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because you don't think about it being selfish until you actually hear someone say it out loud. But in this case, Red was with Anne for his own desires, not because he wanted to prop Anne up, make Anne a better person, do things for Anne. He wanted a place to lay his head and a warm body to lay next to. And yeah, very selfish in that regard. She was 100% accurate for cracking him across the face.
Yep, had it coming. And it seemed to wake him up. Maybe Liz should have done this in like season 2. She should have just like laid him out right across the face, and maybe they could have had this out a long time ago. That's what was missing.
Yeah, they could have been drinking buddies and then just been slapping slap back and forth.
That's what you do when you're drinking. I don't want to drink with you. That just sounds painful. That does not sound like a great time.
Shot of tequila, crack. Shot of tequila, crack.
Slap, says the hand.
Who passes out first?
What does the hand say? Slap. And what's sad is now Anne will have to live with this bloodshed on her conscience. I don't think it was really sinking in at that moment at the end of the episode, but it will at some point. She's going to have to live with the people that died on her own head. So that's sad.
Plus she has to leave her house. Her house is so quaint and pretty.
It's a nice little place. Yeah. I mean, it's got holes in it now. So I don't know if it's really as nice as it used to be. Definitely. I mean, it's going to be breezy is what I'm saying. It's going to be a very breezy house. Okay, well, that's Anne. We get Red. We move on to Red. Unless there's anything else on Anne you wanted to talk about?
No,
I mean, she's with them at the end, which kind of surprised me. That was
I'm glad that she's not completely done on out of the picture. I'm just curious to see, like, when is the episode coming where this resolves? Obviously, between Red and Liz, we see Anne again, and how much more she's going to be part of the show.
You're 100% convinced it's going to be like episodes where we find out what Liz has been doing.
I'd be so angry. Every week, it's going to be like, and here, no. How about no?
And this is the episode where we see where Liz first got her sandwich. Oh, okay, cool. Her first sandwich outside on the run.
This is the episode where her and Skip learn how to play bridge.
Oh, and here's the episode where Agnes got in a little adventure out of her own. What? Now we're following kids? What the hell? Yeah. I hope we get through that pretty quick.
Yeah, I hope it's a Liz episode next week because they filmed 13 and 14 in tandem, and so then this resolves at the start of 15 would be great.
I think Bokenkamp and Eisendrath both wrote next week's, right?
Probably both. I know Bokenkamp. I think
it's Misery or something like that.
Yeah, Misere.
Okay, that'll be good. I have faith that's going to be great. All right, so Red, we get a bit of normal Red, relaxed Red, handy Red, dancing Red, and in love Red, and we also find out he has a cat.
Yep, the cat's still alive.
I didn't realize he still had the cat.
Yeah,
so what did you think about
the cat from the flat, season 2?
I totally forgot about it because I don't like cats, so I try to get
remember the cat has its own blog.
Again, don't like cats, so don't care. Don't care. All right, so what did you think about Red? Relax Red. Handy Red. Fix the stuff. I mean, you guys are going to go, I'm going to go to the hardware store. Like, who are you? What?
It seems like the same Red we saw in Cape May, or not Cape May, but the one after it, right? Was it Artex Network, where he was with Dom and he's just kind of like going to the grocery store and hanging out and playing in the shed and fixing the piano, but that was a different type of Red. That was a somber Red. Where here, this is a joyous Red, but it's that Red that we see that is not a criminal, not a master planner, not a scheming for the next thing to come up and watch his back. So it's kind of fun to watch Spader play something a little different.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed seeing him relax and getting those character moments. Like I said, I love character beats, and this was really sweet, and I really think they play off each other well.
And then you get the paranoia Red, too, which is awesome, where he's like, hey, that van looks weird. And then he's like, oh, hey, I see that van again. I'm just going to go grab a knife from the kitchen and make sure I take out this guy in the backyard.
Is that paranoia? That seems pretty, he's right.
He's right.
I was wondering, like, what if he's wrong and he just kills the power guy? That would suck.
That's kind of what I was thinking too at first. I was like, see, this is where you do it for too long, and a small town is just a small town, Red. It's okay.
I thought that could have been a cool twist. Really, I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of hoping there still would be some kind of revenge plot in this episode, but maybe he accidentally kills an innocent person. But I guess the cops died and it wasn't their fault. So,
or they would have just taken advantage of the whole, small towns, everybody leaves their doors open. And so someone just actually walks into Anne's place and kidnaps Anne because her door would have been unlocked.
Yeah. He asked the Chase County Power and Water guy, how many are coming? And he says, everyone. And your best Gary Oldman, but very low key. Also, Chase County, Kansas is home to the Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve. I looked it up, and this looks to take place in Cottonwood Falls. Don't know if you need to know that, but now you do.
Thanks for the geography lesson. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. Well, from about the midway point on. It's the assault on this tiny town in Kansas. Red does turn himself into the police, and they make an assault on the precinct, Cottonwood Falls. I think that's interesting that he turns himself in and he's trying to get the cops to listen to him. And then he's like, well, if you just would have listened to me, I'm like, who would listen to the criminal? Nobody would. That makes total sense.
But he came in and he was just all like, here's my hands. I have 2 pistols on my sides. You could go ahead and grab them. I'm good. Hey, my picture's on the wall.
Yeah, I love that. Very fun.
I would listen to him just because there's people literally piling up outside my precinct with automatic weapons. I would be like, hey, you know something about automatic weapons. What do we do here?
Exactly. How did you, I don't know, kill all those other people before? Can we do that? Let's do that. Give the man a gun, whatever you need to do. It's kind of like when John Wick's at your house and if you're getting an assault on your house, just give a gun to John Wick and stand back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, several cops get killed. Lois does get shot. I don't know if it's probably going to affect the dating situation a little bit later. Townsend storms the precinct, gets right to him, but can't quite get him before he has to go because the backup is there. Red turns to leave, but Lois arrests him. Of course, Anne helps him escape. That happens. And he does admit to being selfish. I wish he'd admit it to Liz. That'd be great. Maybe Anne's the turn we needed. Maybe that's the lesson he needed to learn.
Like, please don't hurt Anne. Here's everything that happened in the last 8 years. Anne, could you go put on a cup of cocoa? That'd be great.
And we learn Anne won't be safe there until it's done. And when it's safe, she'll get a postcard from Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota. Maybe he'll come visit. Maybe he'll stay awake for the movies. That was pretty funny that, Red keeps falling asleep during movies like all regular people do. That was pretty funny.
I don't think I've made it through one movie in the theater recently without falling asleep, at least for a part of it.
Seriously? Like, I don't know how you could fall asleep in a theater, but on a couch, you lay down, I'm out.
Well, because they got those reclining chairs and you just kind of, you settle in and...
No, I don't do that. If I paid $12, I want to watch whatever I'm watching. That's just the way it goes. Well, we end with Red going back to Anne's. Again, I'm going to let it slide because it's TV, but that was ridiculous. Okay? There's no way. There's not people staking out that house. Whatever.
But you appreciated the turnaround. Like, you're glad Red went back for Anne?
No, I didn't really see the point for it other than the story needed it to happen. But it is what it is. Like, it didn't bother me. I just thought the fact that there's nobody there was ridiculous. That he got to walk up to the front door was ridiculous.
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like he was down the road a ways.
He was down the road a ways. He'd gone quite a bit, and then he came back, but whatever. And he gets there, and there's a hand with a gun, and he says, Elizabeth. Bom, bom, bom. Was that a turn for you? Or you're kind of like, oh, when he went back, that's what you were expecting. I thought she was dead. For a second, I thought Anne was dead.
That's what I was thinking for it too. Like, she'd come in and Anne would be dead. And then he would be like, Rampage Red. I'm going to find out who did this. But when he said Elizabeth, I was like, oh, snap, it's on. And then 10 episodes of what happened to Liz for the last 10 weeks.
I hope you're wrong about that.
I sure hope I am.
Really do. So that's everything. That's Anne. I really, really enjoyed this episode, even though there's no mythology stuff. There's not a whole lot of forward movement in the seasonal story, the season arc. This is still probably one of my favorite episodes of the season. So the last couple have been really good. Damn good.
Yeah, agree. And it shows that you can do the show without a mythology. So just answer the damn question.
Way to throw it out there. Get it in there. Yeah. It's funny. Okay, well, we got some other stuff. We got some special agent intel and some other things, so hold tight. But I want to take a quick second to say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon, and it's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Special big thanks to our honorary Blacklister, Patricia. Also, special shout out to our task force members, Judy and Sharon, Rory, Karen, Bobby, Jens, and now Mary, all official task force members. All those people I just mentioned, they receive very cool gifts from us, and you can get a cool gift as well for donating at the $20 level or higher. If you want a cool t-shirt or a coffee mug, you know you do. You don't have to stay at that level forever, just a few months to get the cool gifts.
Yeah, I mean, summer's coming. Who doesn't want a t-shirt? And if you can't afford it, we totally understand. $2, $1 for Aaron, $1 for me. We love you just the same. If you can spare $5 in the fedora, then you get access to the episode and any interviews before anybody else. And you can put all that money in the hat over at Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Go ahead and fill the fedora and stay tuned because we got more great show coming up for you right after this.
Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at remakethismovieright.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hey, Dembe Loyals, this is Hisham Tawfiq. You are listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we listen to wise words from Red this week. Then you get to vote for your favorite in the weekly web poll on our website, theblacklistexposed.com. This week, our first clip comes when we see into Red's financials.
What do you know about bridge? The game, not the way to cross from here to there.
Bridge? I'm sorry. I was under the impression that a comprehensive review of your investments and holdings was of the utmost importance at this time.
It is. We anticipate a significant increase in our need for available resources over the next few months.
Well, there you have it. We all have different interests and priorities, don't we? For instance, in the morning, Mr. Zuma likes to start with the business section and then move on to the sports. I like to start with the funnies and fall asleep in my chair. It takes me all day to read the paper.
I like the funnies.
No, he likes the funnies as well, but he also has an amazing head for business, numbers and trends and, all the rest of it. Whereas I wouldn't know a Bitcoin from a subway token.
Well, you wouldn't have to. That Bitcoins aren't a tangible thing.
They aren't. I wouldn't know. My investment in Bitcoin was neither prescient nor insane. I was just following Mr. Nakamoto's instructions. Satoshi said buy, I bought.
Satoshi Nakamoto. You know him. Who he really is.
Yes, well, Denmei knows him better than I. They're like,
Is there anything else we need to review? We do have a plane to catch.
Well, there's your holdings in Singapore and the BSC, but I'm sorry, you know Nakamoto? The Nakamoto? No one knows Nakamoto.
Mr. Kane, we really must be going, which means you need to be going.
Okay, well, if there's anything else I can help you with.
Not unless you know something about bidding or suit management.
Bridge.
Our second comes when Red learns about patterns.
Raymond, I'm serious.
I know, and I love that about you, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
No patterns. You taught me that. You said it's the first rule of staying a step ahead of your enemies. Do something once, it may go undetected, maybe twice. After that, it's a pattern.
How many visits will this be?
5.
I like her. I like coming home to a port, seeing a candle burning in a window, a smiling face waiting to greet me. I never liked it before. I like it now. Did you know the irises are the state flower of Tennessee?
What's the state flower of Kansas?
The sunflower. She grew up with them. She likes irises.
I should be with you.
You should be with Raymond Reddington. When I'm with Anne, that's not who I am.
It may not be who you want to be, but it's always who you are.
Which was your favorite this week? If you need some education, vote #RedBridge. Or if you just want a place to lay your head, vote #RedHome.
Okay, now we go to Special Agent Intel. First up from Carol. The post office continues being a letdown for me. They played loose with the law from day one, but I guess I am more sensitive to it these days. Ressler keeps calling Liz. Ram bends himself backwards to find any possible excuse for her. Cooper abandons the neutrality of the law because he likes Liz more and more often, and the only one who calls him out on it is Panabaker. The post office should not be choosing between Red and Liz. They should uphold the law and the mandate of catching blacklisters. I agree. If they believe that Red no longer brings enough value as a CI to the table, it is not that hard to use his transgressions, he commits some basically every episode, and validate his plea, deal, lock him up. But playing this weird game so that Liz can get her answers, she deserves them, but it is not their job to get them for her. In the end, what I mind the most is the holier-than-thou attitude they all still have. They all broke the law, but still act as the uncorrupted people from season 1, even though they would all end up in jail with Red or Liz if their actions came to light. Own it. I like that. Yeah. Own it. Also, It's a TV show. It's not real. That's why.
That's right. Gotta do stuff to keep the story moving.
Exactly.
Richard said, "Hey, Aaron and Troy, love the show and the podcast. My prediction for Liz's return will be a throwback to the pilot. Liz will sit on a bench outside of FBI headquarters with Skip beside her, saying that it must be good to be home again. Liz will walk in and identify herself. She will only talk to Donald Ressler. She will lay out her plan to take down Reddington by providing her own blacklist. The immunity agreement is void since he is not the real Raymond Reddington. She will want her own immunity agreement in exchange. Keep yourself off the blacklist, Richard."
That would have been great. Didn't happen.
Apparently not, because she's in Anne's living room.
Kim Cavera. Hey, you guys. That's Goonies. I just did a Goonies reference. I have a podcast crossover question. Should you have time to answer? I followed your lead and went to remake this movie right. The Goonies review was spot on. Raiders, Cheerios, who knew? Awesome trivia. We're now 164. That's Remake This Movie Right. It's another podcast Troy and I have done many, many episodes of. We're now 164 episodes into the Blacklist. Which episode would you fellas, together or individually, remake right? Would it be possible to do without changing Bokenkamp's vision or direction for the show? I tend to side with Rory. Even the most cringy episode for me, I still liked 50%. So what say you, Mr. Man?
There's so many episodes.
You want to think on that and come back next week with a better answer?
You know which one I'm going to remake? I'm going to remake mid-season 6, the I love you moment. And make it to be what it should have been. Which is give the answer on death row.
Do it. Explain for people, because they probably don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, mid-season 6, Red is basically eating cabbage something from his mom, a Russian dish. And he's talking to Liz, and you really think that in that moment, these are his last words and he's going to die, and Liz can just flat out say, like, what the hell was this all about anyway? And then Red could have said, well, here, let me tell you what this was all about. But instead, Liz turns and says, it doesn't matter. I love you. You're awesome. I hope you have a great afterlife. And we're all just like, gah!
That one really makes you mad, doesn't it?
It certainly does, to this day.
First off, the whole trial section, I think I would redo a large portion of that. I just don't think it worked as well as it could have and I just feel like there really never felt like there were any real stakes there, even though he was in prison. I didn't think that was handled as well as it could have been.
But it was fun, though, when he was like poking the bear with that one cop.
Parts of it, sure.
And he's doing the old Boston Legal throwbacks and the way he's drinking the water. And there was just
the whole back half of the same season. Like, I just feel like I would have done it differently. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. So really because remember, the back half of season 6
was actually one of the highest rated from the fans.
Sure.
Until they found out what the answer actually was.
I know. But if you're going to remake one, remake Ruin. Leave Ruin, though, because Ruin's my favorite episode. I don't care what anybody says. Cape May's not it. Ruin is my favorite episode. And I would remake it, though, because that's the episode right after Tom died. And I would just make Ruin nothing but a party episode where it's celebration, it's joy, it's everyone just go. Tom's dead. Like the whole episode. I want 44 minutes of them applauding this character's finally gone. Is that too harsh? I don't care.
All the people sitting around going like, do you remember when Tom did this stupid thing? And you remember when Tom did this stupid thing?
That would be so good. Remember when you took it back after he beat your ass? Remember that? Oh, yeah, that was silly of me. Do you remember when he was a white supremacist? Oh, I was undercover. Well, he was pretty convincing. You know, just everything. Just celebrate Tom's demise episode.
Do you remember that time you were tied to your kitchen chair and literally hanging for your dear life because you were stabbed basically to death?
But what's most important is when you remake that episode, you can't do it like that montage thing or the memory thing where you're like bringing back pleasant memories, and it's like a reflection episode, and they look back at lovingly at old clips. No, it has to be a celebration of the character's demise. That would make me very happy. Because I'm freaking mean. Oh, we got one more.
Yes, Joe still thinks that blonde Katerina is alive. Red shoots someone. They fall backwards with the impact. Katerina noticed, though, that she grabbed her stomach and then fell forward. Joe thinks that she was hit with a tranquilizer, sent her to the island safe house until they can find out who was actually attacking Red. As he said, he didn't know who was after him, and possibly not knowing who was really after blonde Katerina.
You think that's possible?
I mean, forensics would say and physics would say that she's got a point, but I think she's dead.
I think she's dead because he just let way too much happen for... It would just make me be more mad at Red, because then all this is going on, you can't even tell her that her mom's alive? What? That Katerina, whoever you think she is alive? Yeah. So yeah, I think she's dead.
It invalidates the story,
that
too.
woman, I think is dead.
Yeah. If she was alive, I think the show jumps the shark, because then basically anybody can come back.
Exactly. Plus, she already had a fake death once. I just can't do it again. Don't do it again.
No.
That's like a card, and they've done it. That's fake death has happened a couple times in this series, which is it's going to happen in TV. But I feel like once per character. That's it. That's the limit. So anything else on Anne? I mean, that's it. I mean, we're done.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Short podcast, but good episode.
I really dug it. I really like having these episodes where it's like a very concentrated story, even though I love the Blacklisters and everything else and the mythology and everything. But I like this. Very self-contained, but very fun, very thrilling, entertaining the whole way through.
Like the Clue episode. Self-contained, one and done, in and out.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Good times. Well, keep it up. I can't wait to see what happens next. And I'll take the bet, though. I do think we won't get the conversation that we think we're going to get at the beginning. I think it's just going to be build up to the end of the episode. So I do think you'll get the conversation in 2 weeks, not next week.
All right. So you're at least at one.
Between Liz and Red. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it just feels like that's the right way to do it. Yeah. And yes, Liz Keene will be back on the show so people can stop coming up with the weirdest of theories.
Right. It was completely story driven. She is now back. 8/14. Please don't send letters.
I don't know the reason. I don't care. It is. I'm just following the show. And she's back. There you go.
Yeah.
So stop writing about it. I don't want to hear about it anymore, honestly.
She got on a plane. She flew away. She made her parents and presence felt. And now she's back.
And you know what? Still hope Agnes isn't with her. Like, right. I'm hoping she's still in daycare the whole time. Why bring her back? I hope she's with Skip. Let Agnes hang out with Skip for a while.
No doubt.
All right, well, that's going to conclude this discussion. So now is the time to recommend the Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, or your neighbor. And when you do, please also recommend that they listen and subscribe to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case profiles can be found at theblacklisexposed.com and everywhere great podcasts can be heard.
For more great Aaron and Troy hijinks, follow us on your favorite social media outlet. I'm at Troy Heinritz. He's at Aaron Smirks. Together we are at The Blacklist GSM. Talk about the show, the podcast, or your favorite card game to play with friends. Except Brad. Don't invite Brad over.
Brad or Bran? I can't. I bet you it's Bran. I'll bet you money it's Bran. I'm looking on IMDb and it says Bran, but I could have swore he said Brad, so I don't know anymore. I just don't know. All I know is I like you, Lois. Your husband is lame. That's just the way it is. All right. Well, big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Team Red or Team Liz? That's it. The lines have been drawn. Team Red or Team Liz? We want to know. I kind of know how this is going to go, but that's it.
I'm excited to find out. We'll see you next week. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.
And I'm Special Agent. I'm Special Agent.
You are special.
I guess. And I'm Agent Aaron. What the hell am I doing wrong?